Hey everyone, Aditya here. Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to look at another problem, that is two sum. So we will try to solve this problem, and before that we'll look into the problem itself. So what is this two sum problem? This is a very well-known problem and it's a very easy problem also. So let us look into it. Given an array of integers called nums. So we have got an array of integers named nums and an integer target. So we have two inputs. One is nums, which is array of integers. Another one is an integer target. Return indices of two numbers such that they add up to the target. So we are given target and we need to see which two indices related numbers, right? If you take two indices related values should be sum up to this target. That value we have to return. So the return is a number that is the sum of any two elements in the nums which is equal to target. So this is the question. Okay, now you may get so many questions, right? So in interview also you have to ask so many questions regarding this question when someone asks this type of questions. So like, so you are saying the target is an sum of two numbers, right? You can ask a question like this: what if can I add the same number twice? Right? No, you can't add the same number twice. So that is one clarification. The other clarification is, so we are finding a target which can be possible for more than two indices. So is that possible? No. So here in the question what they mentioned, it is not possible. So that is what we will expect from the interviewer, that if it is possible or not, we need to uh, written more pairs or only single pair. Okay, that question we need to clarify. Look, here he clarified in the question itself, but if someone asks a vague question like this, you need to ask and you need to clarify what was the question was. So the question itself he mentioned, you may assume that each input would have exactly one solution. That means we don't have two or three pairs which sum up to our target. We have only one pair which sum up to the target. And you may not use the same element twice. Yes, you can't use your same element twice. Okay. You can return the answer in any order. And also, if you find two indices, for example, 1 and 10. So if you want to return as 1 comma 10 or 10 comma 1, so any order, right? No need to worry about order. Even both the ways will work. And here we get few examples. If you see the example 1, we have given a number array, that is 2 7 11 15, and the target is 9. So how to calculate, how to find this target in this array? So if you see here, the first two indices 2 and 7, 0 and 1, if we add those two things, which is equivalent to target, so the output is 0 and 1, right? And for the example 2, if you take the example 2, we have 3 comma 2 comma 4, and the target value is 6. Now if you iterate through the array and find out the which two indices sum is equivalent to 6 is 2 4. So the indices are 1 and 2. So that is the output. And finally we have an array which only two elements. So if we calculate the sum of these two elements, then which is equivalent to 6, that means which is equivalent to target, that means 0 and 1 is the output. Okay, and we got few constraints, right? We just look into this constraint, like the length should be in this between these two values, and nums of I could be between these two values, and target could be these two values. And also we have only one valid answer exists, so there is no two valid answers. That means you will get only one pair that was promised. Okay, now we'll try to solve this problem in our way, right? We'll try to solve this problem initially. So initially whenever someone asks this kind of questions, right, I have set up my code in the my IDE, but yeah, so These are the three test cases which we have seen earlier in that examples. So I am writing my code now. Okay. Now, how could I start? Right. First, we need to think about the solution, and after that, we write the code. So how would we think about this solution? So we have an integer array, and we need to find out two indices whose sum is equivalent to given target value. Okay. So my initial approach is I will do one thing. I will iterate over the array like this, and I will get one element at the first iteration. And after that, I will take this element and I will try to add this element to all the remaining values. While adding, if I find the target equal to the sum equal to target, I will return those indices. Okay, that is my initial approach, my brute force approach. So for that, what are the things needed? We'll try to write now. So my brute force approach is same, simple. We'll iterate to the array and we'll take one element first in the iteration, and after that again we'll iterate the array from the next elements and we'll add the first element with all the next elements until we find the sum, until we find those sum is equivalent to target. Similarly, if we didn't get the, for example, you take this example, I will take 3 and after that I will add 3 to 2 and 3 to 4. Okay, and if I didn't get my desired output, then I will go to 2, and from 2 to next element is 4. I will try to add this, so 6, right? So like that I will do an iteration. I will take one element and iterate other elements and add that element to other elements to find out this target is equivalent to those sum or not. Okay, I will try to write now. So I'm writing a for loop. So in my first for loop, I am going to iterate over the array from the starting position I plus plus. I have my current value. I can say this is current value. Okay, that is current num of I value. Now I will use this current value. Now if you observe, I am iterating the second loop from the next element from the I. So if I is 0, I will compare, I will start from the next element 1 until the end of the array. So the second loop will iterate over the next all the elements and add those elements with current value. So here I am going to calculate the sum of this current and nums of j. Okay, and if this sum equal to given target, then we have to return a new array which is I comma j. I need to specify type it. So a new array I comma j. Did you get this? So in the first iteration, the current value is in this case 2, and we are starting from the 7, right? And the sum, right? Current value 2 plus 7 equal to 9, so that we'll return that value. And if you take this example, in the first iteration, the current value is 3. We are trying to add 3 to the remaining values. So in the inner loop starts from the 2, right? And we are going to calculate the sum. So 3 plus 2 gives 5 and 5 is not equal to 6, so that we will iterate the loop again. Now the inner loop will come to 4 and we have current value 3. So 3 plus 4 7, that will also don't work. Now after the second iteration of I loop will have the current element as 2. So I value increments to 1, so current element is 2. Now we are going to use 2 to add all the remaining values in the array, but in this array we have only 4. Okay, so j will start from I plus 1, that is 1 plus 1 2, that is 4 value. So j will start from the second index Now, if we are starting from the second index and the current value is 2, 2 plus 4 gives you 6 value, and sum is 6 and target is 6, we are going to return those two indices as 1 comma 2. Okay, similarly for this third test case also. Now I am going to return here at the end an empty array. Why empty array? So this empty array will occur only when we didn't find any pair in the given array. So we have executed our loops and executed our code, but we are unable to find out any sum, any pair sum which is equivalent to target. So that's why we are returning an empty array. Now I will try to execute this code now. We'll see the output. So for 2, 7, 11, 15, which target 9, the answer is 0, comma 1. So 2 plus 7, 9, true. And for 3 to 4, the answer is 1, 2. Yes, 1, 2, 2 plus 4 is 6, true. And for 3, comma 3, the answer is 0, comma 1. Yeah, we have only two elements, 0, 1. And the 0th index element plus 1th index element is equivalent to 6. So this is true. Okay, but if you here observe, the time complexity of this problem is O of n square. So that means the performance of this solution will be not efficient in an will be not inefficient, because if the size of the array size of the array increases, the number of operations to calculate this sum is difficult. So we need to figure out a better approach than this. Okay, if we go to our question and there was a follow-up question that could be asked by an interviewer, like, can you come up with an algorithm that is less than O of n squared time complexity? Now we need to think of how to achieve that O of n squared time complexity. As of now, I am commented out this O of n squared time complexity. So if you see here, the interviewer could ask you, can you come up with an algorithm that is less than O of n squared time complexity? Now we have O of n squared time complexity. I am going to show you how to get O of n time complexity. Here we know usually we have to iterate over the array. So we can't get a better performance than O of n. So how can we achieve this? Right? So first thing we need to understand how to solve this problem. So for a simple use case, usually we have a target, right? For every iteration, we should have target and also one of the two values. Maybe we can say x value, right? We have x value, but the missing thing is y. So that means x plus y will give us target, and to find y value, right? We know x value, we know y value. We know x value and we know target value. To find the y value, we need to subtract x value from the target. Okay, so this is the y value. So now how we are going to calculate this y value? So for that we can use a map or hash map. So what is this map or hash map usages? This map or hash map will store x value along with its index. Okay, so for each index, what was the x value we will store in the hash map. And after that, for each element in the array, we will try to calculate the complement, which is y value. So if any match occurs, that means we have x value in hash map and y value in iterator, so that we can return that pair. Okay, so I hope you understand this. Now I will write an Now I'll try to write a code to get better understanding. So how to write a code? So first As we mentioned, we need a hash map to store x and x values and its indices. So I'm going to create a hash map. So of type integer, integer. Okay. So we need to import. So I'm giving its name as map new hash map. So we need to import the hash map from the utils package. So the hash map is available now. As we discussed, first thing we need to store all the x values along with indices in a map. So for that I am iterating over an array, and for each iteration in the map we are going to store the element itself with its index. So we need to get the elements from the nums. So that is at that index and the index value also. Okay. So this for loop will store all the elements in this hash map with the indexes, right? And after that we need to again iterate another for loop, right? It will start with again 0 and until the length of the array. Now in this for loop we are going to calculate the complements, so the y value. So as we discussed here, that is target minus x, target minus, here the x is nums of I. Okay. Now once we calculated this target value, we need to check whether this complement is present in the map. Map dot contains key y. That means if target minus x value is there, the target minus x value is y, that is in this index, and in the map somewhere you have x value, that means x plus y value should be equal to target, right? So like that we have to use this complement method. Now we have to add one more constraint here, that is the complement value, right? The complement value should not equal to the current index itself. These two conditions we need to be careful because we are not going to compare the same element itself. Now, if these two are true, that means the map should contain this complement value and also the element is not equal to itself, then we need to return a new array, integer array of having these two indices. So here it is easy, I value, and for the next we need to get that complement from the map. Okay, now we will try to execute this and see how it behaves. Look, we got the same answers, right? But here we have decreased the time complexity with O of n, because this for loop will go for O of n time complexity, and also this for loop will go for O of n time complexity. So finally O of n plus O of n will results in O of n only. So final the time complexity we achieved is O of n. Okay. And now even further, could we improve this code? If you ask, yes. How? Since if you see here, we have one for loop for calculating or storing into a map all the elements and its instances, and one for loop to calculate the complement and check whether it's present in the map. So instead of doing this two pass, right, we are passing the array one time, and again second time also we are passing to the array. So two iterations. So instead of doing that, why can't we do in single iteration itself? So for that I am just commenting this code. I'm commenting out this code and I'm going to write another code. So as usual we have our hash map. So I'm naming it as a map. So which will store two integers. Okay, map should be capital. So we created a map. Now here we are going to use only one for loop. So because we are targeting for the only one pass, int I equal to 0, I less than nums dot length I plus plus. Okay, I dot length of length I plus plus. Here First thing what we are going to do is we are going to take the element itself. So we say element equal to nums of I. So we'll get the first element. We'll get the first element, and also we need to calculate the complement. That is why that is nothing but target minus y value, x value. That is, we can say it is x instead of element x. So we got the complement value here. Now we need to check in the map whether map contains this target. Simple. And since we are in this loop, we are guaranteed the same element we are not comparing twice, because earlier we already completed one insertion in the map, right? And after that again we are looping through all the indices. There will be a chance you can compare the same element, but here that thing we eliminated because check for the same value. You can't compare for the same value, right? So that's why. So if map contains that complement, then we just return a new int array having the current index along with the map complement related index. Okay. Otherwise, what we are going to do is we are going to add this value to the map, right? The value is x and its index. So if you see, the code has been minimized very much. Here we have only 5 lines of code, and we'll see how it execute now. And finally we have to return an empty array if we don't have any pairs, right? So I have added that code also. Now we'll try to execute. So now the order has been changed. So 1 0 1 plus 2 is 7, and the for second example 2 1, that is this is 2, this is 1, but the sum is equal to 6, and 3 3 also. So here the order got changed. Otherwise we can change like this, right? We can change like this instead of returning I comma of map of get of y, since already the value present in y that could be treated as first element, and the I value should be treated as the second element. But anyway, order does not matter for our question. So in this way you can complete your code within of n time complexity. There is no two times iterating the same array, only one pass, and the code is more optimized now, more efficient now.